All right. Welcome to the Scorched Earth Political Podcast. I'm your host, John. And if you could hit that like and subscribe button, it means a lot to us. Here we welcome all, sinner and saint, friend and foe. And we have a more raw and honest look of what's going on in the world of politics. We're kind of changing the format a little. If you could, leave some comments about what you think. Do you like the old format where I did 3 or 4 stories in one longer podcast, or I break them up like I'm trying to do now into shorts and 3 to 4 minute segments? It seems like those are a little more popular, but you know what? This is a podcast for the people, by the people. So tell me what you're thinking and we will respond accordingly. And if you're a troll, go ahead and leave a comment because I love it. I was dealing with trolls for an hour yesterday. God, I love it, man. Bring it on. Let's get in there and fight. I'm the liberal who wants to fight. F you, man. There ain't nothing nice about me over here, okay? I'll tell you that. All right. So here we are, taking no prisoners, telling no lies, and let's burn it all to the ground, all right? So let's talk about something that is insanely goddamn boring, and that is the federal debt. The Republicans this week passed their big, beautiful bill, and it is going to add trillions of dollars to the deficit. You know, Elon Musk came in with Doge, and he said he was going to cut $2 trillion. Then he said he was going to cut $1 trillion. And I don't even think he got to 60 billion, which 60 billion sounds like a lot. In most forms, it is a lot. But when the budget of the United States is 7 trillion, it's not even 1%, right? And he really didn't cut anything. He just got rid of jobs. He got rid of 121,000 federal workers, right? So far that we know of. And we're going to have to pay the price in terms of lack of services from FEMA, Social Security, blah, blah, blah. You know, they're conquering and dividing. That's what this bullshit administration does, right? They just separate us. Few people really can't complain like a lot of people can. So that's why we're going to do what we're going to do, right? So this week, the bond market responded to the anywhere between $3.5 and $5 trillion that this big, beautiful bill would add to the federal debt. The federal debt right now is $36 trillion. Stay with me. I know I'm putting you asleep already. This is going to put it up to 40 to 45 trillion. And honestly, when they say it's 3 to 5 trillion, those are always bullshit numbers. They're always like double. You know, that's just the way politicians work. They kick the can down the goddamn road, right? So the bond market is basically the market that buys U.S. treasuries, okay? How much is it going to cost to buy a treasury? Now, what's a treasury? That is basically, we are issuing a note to pay for our spending. If we only bring in $5 trillion in taxes and we spend $7 trillion on budgetary items, we have to go finance $2 trillion. So what we have done is, we're like the drunken sailor who has the credit card, and all we are doing is making the minimum interest payment every month. We are not touching the principal at all. That's why it continues to go up. Last year, we paid $818 million just on interest. If this bill goes through, our interest payment alone, as a country, on the debt will be over $1 trillion. That's larger than the Defense Department and also Social Security. Okay? You can see where this is going. The amount of debt we're paying is going up every goddamn year, right? I remember back when the Republicans actually cared about, fiscal responsibility. Yeah. You know when they care about fiscal responsibility? When a Democrat's in office. When their guy's in office, they blow that money like a drunken sailor. I remember President Clinton actually was the first guy to have a surplus in quite a while after Reagan blew up the deficit. And George Bush, I remember when Clinton left, he said, they asked him, how long do you think that surplus is going to last? And he goes, I don't know, 20 years. George Bush burned through it in 9 months because they all realized one thing, just spend the money, you're not going to have to pay the bill. And that's exactly what this big, beautiful bill is doing, right? It means a larger portion of tax dollars will be swallowed by interest payments rather than going for something productive, like infrastructure or building manufacturing base so that people can make more money and have better lives, right? We are paying. The bond market has typically been 4%. That's the interest that the United States pays on anybody who buys their Treasury securities. And it's really good that most of the people who buy the Treasury securities, which are in the trillions of dollars, are other countries. They're the only ones who have that money. And it's really nice that Trump is pissing them off with these high tariffs. Good move, man. Good move. Piss off the guy who's loaning you money. Yep, that's smart. There you go. Japan and China, two of the higher tariff countries, are the ones who own the most in U.S. Treasury securities. But, who cares about that? I'm sure they wouldn't stop buying them. Yeah. So the bond market has been at 4%. Well, this week it went up to 4.5%. Now, that 0.5% doesn't sound like a lot, but it's going to add $175 billion a year, a half a point on our debt interest payment. That is insane. That's how we got over $1 trillion. That's where we are, right? So next year, it's going to be $1 trillion. And the Republicans don't care about it at all. And where is this going to affect us? Okay, everybody sits there and goes, God, John, this is the boringest crap I ever heard. You're probably right. I probably am not explaining it very well. But it trickles down because everybody has got this pseudo fantasy that interest rates are going to come down this year. And I am no macro economic guy, but they're not going down if the interest rate on our debt is going up. They are correlated. Josh Frost, who oversaw debt management under President Joe Biden, there is an office in the cabinet of debt management. That's how crazy it is, right? Called the current bill unstable equilibrium. Basically, it means as the interest goes up, we're not going to be able to pay it eventually. And let's call it what it is. I'm going to be the only guy who's going to call it. They're going to go after Social Security and Medicare. Those are the only programs with enough money in there to cut to be able to make the interest payments. They are going to bankrupt Social Security. I honestly thought it was going to happen to 2035. Yeah, 2028. Get ready. It's coming. It's straight goddamn coming. House Budget Chair Joe D. Arrington told the bond market would be the ultimate arbiter of their package. If the bond markets don't think we're serious, he's talking about Congress, I'm not sure it will matter what we do because they're going to dictate the terms. They set the interest rates. What are they going to buy? And at some point, they're going to say, and Moody's, we've talked about, lowered the AAA credit rating to AA a week and a half ago. And now they're saying, God, I don't know. They always thought the U.S. could pay back its debt. At some point, you've extended the credit card too goddamn far, and people are going to go, yep, we're not going to be able to pay. I'm just telling you. This is serious shit, people. Even I had to cough. All right. If you could, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave some comments. Tell me how boring this goddamn talk was, because it was pretty damn boring. But I want to keep us informed, and I want to tell you the Republicans are coming for our pocketbooks. F them and F them again. All right, like and subscribe for more comments.